Now, the Indian Telecom success story has turned sour thanks to a heady mix of greed, corruption and government indifference. And so, the once upon a time flag bearer of the Indian economic growth story, the telecom industry seems to have lost face with consumers at large, as reflected in Brand Equity's most trusted brand survey of 2011-2012. So, whether it be Airtel, Vodafone or Idea, not a single telecom brand managed to move up or, for that matter, even sustain their rankings this year. Khushboo Patodia dug deep to get you a complete analysis of what led to this steep drop in trust for the telecom category.
The Indian telecom sector, one of the main pivots of India's economic growth. The poster boy of the country's monetary reforms. The bubble of opportunities for the nation. That was then. Scam-ridden, miserable landscape on the verge of a breakdown. This is now. A reality whose impact has smeared consumer trust as well. In an uncommon spate of events, the entire telecom category has taken a hit and collectively dropped on the trust meter.
Telecom is one of the most, is the sector which is most messed around politically. And all these things have an impact on the general public.
The last few years, 2009 onwards, were growth years. These brands were, to my opinion, very much in the public eye, and now they're just not as exposed anymore. You're also seeing subscriber trends, slowing down, from the heady days of 20 million net adds a month.
Before one could even realize, the poster boys soon became controversy's favorite children. Controversies that smeared not one, not two, but all the service providers. Airtel, for instance, has taken a major beating on the trust index. It was only last year that the brand rose significantly to become the third most trusted brand, but could not sustain the momentum and has dropped down several places, occupying the 18th position this time around. Add to that its drastic fall to a poor 26 from being the most trusted brand among male consumers. In a similar case, Vodafone, apart from dropping out of the top 20 in the telecom category, has also dropped down to the 22nd place from being trusted at number 2 among male subscribers last year. The story only gets worse from here on. BSNL, that secured a good 23rd place in 2011, features at number 57 this year, in spite of being the only controversy-free brand. The 2G scam that roots back to 2007 under the then telecom minister A. Raja has been named the mother of all controversies that scarred the image of multiple brands including Airtel and Vodafone, whose top officials were summoned for the case and repeatedly reported about in popular press. If that was not enough, Vodafone had more to deal with. We're talking about the tax case that kept the Vodafone management on their toes until recently.
The 2G issue, what that has done is removed or cast a cloud on those operators that got those licenses at that particular time. So I think the 2G issue has had an impact in terms of revenue, has had an impact in terms of the customer experience, in terms of going back and forth.
What's shocking is the fact that Idea Cellular, in spite of posting good results and occupying a decent 17.3% market share, only third to Airtel and Vodafone that lead the category in close proximity, has been washed out of the trust index from number 28 in 2011 to a non-existent number 196 this year.
The issue is far more fundamental. I think consumers were expecting 3G services to pretty much change their entire telecom experience. Video calling to be great, video downloads to be easy. And I think that did not happen. And that's a combination of factors. I think one is just the quality of 3G connectivity, across has not been very great for consumers. The other part, which is more directly attributable, is specific 3G-led services have not seen the offtakes that one was expected of them.
Tata Docomo and Reliance Communications, both of which were nowhere to be seen in the top 50 last year, have obviously not pulled up their socks, which is why they're both missing from the top 100 this year.
Hyper-competitive intensity in telecom that we've seen with 10 to 12 pan-India operators over the last 3 to 4 years does have an impact on kind of seizing if there was any differentiation on 2 or 3 parameters, and people say, okay, it's maybe 1 paisa call hai and I'm going to get the same 1.1 paisa, 1.2 paisa here. It's not such a big difference for one to decide let me try a new operator.
But one cannot turn away from the fact that telcos over the last year or so have shrunk their marketing budgets, and the once upon a time path-breaking campaigns that we oft saw from the telecom stable have become few and far between.
Excuse me, दो का ही charge करोगे ना?
People are used to telecom brands being in your face. Suddenly when brands take a little bit of a backseat in terms of media presence, it does impact a brand.
I think advertising can never compete on credibility with media and real-time news and PR. And I think there was a pretty large campaign against the telecom industry.
Industry speculations reveal that 2013 will bring about two big changes for the telecom sector. One will be consolidation within the sector, and the other will be smaller players getting marginalized or withdrawing services, resulting in a leaner sector with few strong players. After all, India is the only country in the world that boasts of over 10 telecom players. The rest of the world has at best 4 or 5.